We are joined right now by Darrell Scott, a Kentucky-born, Nashville-based singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist whose career spans decades of session work and songwriting. His songs have been recorded by artists like Garth Brooks, The Chicks, Travis Tritt, and Patty Loveless. Chris Stapleton, I believe, too. Am I right?
Let's see. He hasn't recorded one, but he sings my songs.
He sings your songs, and among many others, Darrell. He's also maintained his own career as a performer and instrumentalist in Nashville since the 90s, and he has a show in Nebraska at the Lark in Hastings. That's 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. Darrell, it is great to see you again here on Friday Live.
Thanks. It's good to be here. It's top of the morning, is it not?
Top of the morning. That's what we always say on Friday Live. Mm-hmm. We should from now on, if we don't.
Yeah, you can have that.
Well, you started playing music with your family, and I noticed last time we chatted, which was a year ago almost exactly, you were working on an album with your brothers.
Yeah, I was and finished it. That's the miracle. Records are hard to finish for some reason. They're great to start. But I did finish it, and so it's kind of out and about. We get vinyl probably in the next month, but we've got CDs. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
And then, out in the digital world and the regular old places. As adults, and, now we're these ages, but we never recorded an album prior to now. And so, I'm really happy to have that thing.
What is that experience like working with your brothers like that?
Well, how siblings can be. There's fighting sibling portions, and then there's loving, they against the world kind of family stuff. And we have a little of both. But, when it comes to music, I had a very specific idea for this record, and they followed along very well to sometimes little brother or big brother that I am to some of them. And we kind of turned it toward gospel because we grew up early years. There were really two musics we played. It was church music-ish, and then it was straight up country music. We did both. And so when I was casting this record, I thought, even though I don't feel the way that my upbringing in churches, that ended at about 16 for me. But that's what I leaned into, and I didn't make it like a message of an album. It's more like the cultural music that I grew up from and in. And it took me only 50 years to come to that agreement of being able to work on gospel music again of a sort and not think that I had to, do an altar call at the end of the concert.
How do you write differently, if you do, when the song is for somebody else or when it's a gospel song or you're going to sing it?
Yeah, I don't. The key is I write them all as if I'm doing them. And then that doesn't mean that I haven't sat down with people trying to write for their project, because I have done that. And then it's a different game. It's not this is my song, It's their song and they own it, and now they have to, if it does well, they're going to have to do it every night of their lives in concert if they're famous and have concerts to go to. But most of the time I'm writing because it's what I want to write about. And one of the surprises has been that people want to sing some of the things that I write about for myself. That's kind of like, what? I wrote this in my room by myself in isolation. Why does, the most personal song I have become my most recorded song? And I don't have a good reason for that other than maybe the more introspective we get as creative people, the more possibility that a more universal appeal happens. It's a tough, ironic thing to try to figure out, but that's all I can come up with is the more, so to speak, honest or revealing I am of myself, the more it seems to be open to affect others. I don't understand it, but that seems to be the case. Right? Yeah, and maybe that's the part. It's the human part of us, So in essence, I follow a song idea will come in and I'll just follow it. Wherever it goes, both stylistically and what it's saying. And I kind of refer back to what the song, believe it or not, what the song wants to say, as opposed to me lording over the song. And I really feel that songs, when they come to you, or inspiration, let's say, it has something coming with it. And if you kind of look toward that, it's a better clue as to what to do next with the song.
When you were talking about artists doing a song over and over for the rest of their lives at every concert, it made me think about that aspect of being a musician. Sometimes you've got a favorite song that you might be surprised didn't hit the way some other song did. From your perspective, what's that like? The repetition of something that's a hit, or having a kind of favorite child in a song?
Yeah, I very much experienced that, because basically I've written a few hundred songs, maybe 300 to 400-ish, let's say. And as far as songs that have done, like, really well out there and been re-recorded by, other people and multiple recordings, that might number anywhere from, depending on how closely we're watching that, 6 to 12 songs that have done like very well. What about those other hundreds of songs? And to me, I'm the representative of those other hundreds of songs. Because in essence, when folks are doing it that have a career, in Nashville or this or that, record deals and all that kind of stuff, they may be looking for particular kinds of communication, where when it's more of me as a singer-songwriter, almost folk or Americana or something, I'm just saying what I want to say. And so I represent them. And I realized that many years ago, because I really love those other songs too, not just those 6 to 12. And so I am the representation of those songs out into the world. And I finally figured that out maybe 20 years ago.
Well, things change over time, right?
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to Hastings, you've played a lot of different venues. What do you enjoy about a smaller, kind of more intimate scene like the Lark in Hastings?
Well, first of all, they really made a great space. So they were somewhere else in the town, and it was more like you're bringing a concert into a space that really wasn't designed for concert. With the Lark, they really designed it as the concert space. So right off the bat, and the woman who started that was Robin Harrell, and she, is a musician. She did produce shows and all that stuff. She knew exactly how to go about that, from a sound system, from soundproofing of sorts, or, where the bar would be, where the people would come in, where merch would be set up. So she had that idea. So in essence, they took a downtown building in Hastings and gutted it and basically brought it back as a concert venue or place to maybe have a wedding reception and things like that too. And then as far as the town, I married a Hastings woman. And so it's a homecoming. So she loves coming home. We're also here for the cranes. So we always time, mid-March to be crane season. And so we do go out in the blinds, and we go at night when the birds are landing, and we're there top of the morning before they take off. So it's that. It's family, it's friends, definitely, and it's the cranes.
Love it. I love the cranes myself, I got to admit. So
yeah, it's a spectacle.
Your wife is an artist, a visual artist.
Yeah.
Do you, any collaboration between music and visual arts there?
It's funny. Well, our house is such a collaboration. Like I'm an art collecting person too, and I love art. So part of my being on the road was always, if I had the chance to go into a gallery or this or that, I would. Or festivals where there's artisans out in, the back of the festival with their wares. I go around on purpose. A, I want to support them, but B, it's like if I see stuff I like, it's coming back with me. And so I had, many, many, many pieces of art, and she does too. So our house is filled with art everywhere. And then also another collaboration in art and music is working on recordings of CDs, like the artwork on a CD or a vinyl or that type of thing. And so we work in those ways as well. And then like designing merch, like badges or shirts or hats or fly swatters.
Fly swatters,
well, I made that one up. But,
okay.
But people have... I know bands that have merched fly swatters.
I think everything has been merched, probably.
Yeah. Any way that, to, try to get a little gas money on the way out of town.
There you go.
Fly swatters have worked, I suppose, for some.
Well, you never know what you're going to get, I guess, as you join Darrell Scott at the Lark in Hastings. He has the Nashville stamp of approval with his music. That show is tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. at the Lark. Darrell, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And for links to more info on this show, or of course anything else about Darrell's illustrious career and many talents, or anything else you hear about on Friday Live, check out the Friday Live page. That is at nebraskapublicmedia.org.